what? Oh, you guys want to hear about what's been going on in Charles' week? Charles, let's tell you about your week. What have you been watching? Specifically, Halo.
Segue. This is what happens when we get on a long freaking discussion about something that has nothing to do with what we were originally leading into, but freaking...
That makes the best conversations, though. So go ahead, Charles. Tell us about the Halo.
It was a group effort.
Massively.
I'm just gonna get out my ratings for the last couple of episodes the way I did. We're better than the freaking second one by a long shot. Freaking, I give that one a 6, even though it was just more gabbing, but yet talking. But freaking, it was actually a lot more enjoyable to watch than the second episode was.
Okay.
7, and the third episode I gave a 7 because freaking there was stuff in that episode that freaking made me giddy. Because I was just a Halo fan and me freaking losing my marbles for a second.
Right on.
Freaking just hearing in the third episode basically is when we were finally introducing Cortana, and the way they introduced her is freaking really fucked up when you think about it. And like the assistant to Halsey freaking was creeping on her, freaking tried to kiss her at one point, almost did till she walked in on him and almost caught him. And I was seeing that, it's like, bruh, this is a flash clone of Halsey, and this freaking clone is gonna get killed here in about 5 minutes. At least in the next scene anyway. The way they kill her, just so they can... What they did is basically they did this whole thing where they took the clone's brain and used that to turn her into the freaking Cortana AI. That's how they created Cortana, the AI that we know and love and occasionally hate freaking from the games. But freaking how they did it was like they literally practically lobotomized her by freaking juggling her this thing that made it to where she wouldn't move or anything. But she literally had to watch as this needle freaking was slowly moving down, stabbed her in the eye, and they freaking was literally freaking conscious and felt the whole thing when she was freaking lobotomized practically, so they could take her brain and use it to create an AI from it. And freaking they basically stuck the freaking clones freaking into a freaking thing of acid and melted her. That's pretty much how they created Cortana, the whole thing. She acted like when she and Chief first met, she was a freaking complete and total twat. Acted like freaking if you tried to get freaking like somebody that was shit out of the academy and freaking you put into a unit of people that pretty much had their own way of doing things and everything. Like, constantly bringing up rules and regulations and constantly saying that she should be the one in control of Chief and blah blah blah. And it's like, Jesus Christ, Cortana.
I got a question. So I did raise my hand for the audio listeners. You were talking about Katana got melted down with acid, or she's tripping acid. No matter what, she's still batshit crazy.
It was a body of the flash clone of Halsey whose brain was used to create Cortana.
Okay.
This is just a Joker origin story.
We're gonna get so off topic if we go down the Batman verse, okay? So is that actually pretty close to the lore, the actual lore that happened to Cortana? You would know.
No.
No,
I remember they did how Cortana was created. It was like Halsey created this whole thing. I forget exactly how she did it. She basically used some freaking science crap, freaking make a freaking brain, and freaking create Cortana straight from a freaking brain. Basically, Cortana is basically Halsey, but freaking young. An AI.
Okay.
Don't quote me on it. People, anybody listening to this, you know this shit better than I do. I'm just a freaking fan of the game, so and I like shooting shit in the face.
What does the I stand for?
Artificial. Now, what does the A stand for? Oh no, it's intelligence. A is artificial. Man, Red vs. Blue
Because
gets
he
me
asks
though.
I second. That's why I was always funny to you. Like, what does the I stand for? Oh, you already knew the A? No, that's
Miranda Keys is a freaking twat in this series too, because she's freaking falling for Pangoski's freaking manipulations like crazy. It's like, lady, I know you and your mom don't have the greatest relationship, even worse than you did in the freaking games and the books, but can you not tell this bitch is freaking using you?
And then what happened?
Also, apparently, that freaking seemed to be some weird freaking thing going on between her and one of the female Spartans in Chief's unit. The figure might be teasing a freaking relationship between them down the line, but freaking I'll get into that.
Soap opera?
Yeah.
Dude, so I'm giving my rose. I'm giving her my rose. Oh my god.
This one scene where they had the Covenant sent the freaking human girl that willingly works for them and everything after she was rescued from this colony when she was saved from being beaten by this asshole when she was a kid. I freaking can't describe it. I'm not the best at describing things, freaking for the record, people. But literally, they had this full flashback scene at the start of the episode where this girl was, when she was a kid, and she was a friend of hers. They were trying to get away from these jerks that were chasing them down, freaking everything. They beat her friend to death, which I freaking sucks. You know, I freaking took the whole episode started off with a dark turn, freaking having a kid get beaten to death. And then when she was about to get beaten, that's when the Covenant showed up because they were trying to find what they were looking for. In this case, it was freaking for a blessed one, as they call freaking humans, who can freaking help them find the relics, or like freaking like what Chief did when he found the freaking, I forget what they call it, this thing that will eventually lead them to the Halo ring.
Okay.
They rescued her and took her in as a kid, and then freaking one scene has her trying to lure the UNSC ship crew, freaking let her board the ship. And once she does get on there, the leader of the ship basically had to get on her freaking hands and knees so they could freaking search and everything. And then when he stuck his hand out, telling her that welcome aboard on the ship and everything, that's when shit got real, because a whole horde of freaking hunter worms, or Legolo, freaking, however it's pronounced, freaking the worms that make the hunter, upper hunter and everything, and you know what they are, too, because you guys have played Halo and everything. These things come jumping out everywhere, freaking start wrapping around and strangling all the Marines and the ship crew and everything, and it's just freaking crazy as freaking hell. These guys are literally, meanwhile, just shooting the freaking worm and everything. It's like, can you guys not hit a single thing? You guys are worse than fucking stormtroopers. You make the sick freaking Marines and ODSTs in the games look like freaking better shots than you people.
Well, they all went to the same
Humans
academy.
versus Worms. Watch Tremors.
Ooh, dude, Tremors was good. I've only seen the first one though. I haven't seen the rest.
I haven't seen the others either. Tremors is pretty much good on its own, but hey, if the others are good, then more power to the Human versus Worm fans.
This girl freaking, she goes to the captain after he's freaking wrapped up in freaking these worms and everything, demanding freaking information on where the freaking planet reaches, because they're trying to, because we all know how that's going to end up. Freaking that place is going to get royally fucked at some point, but we'll get to that later down the line, probably. And when he wouldn't give her what she wanted and everything, she literally freaking formed in the freaking energy, freaking like knife or whatever out of her fingernail, freaking stabbed his ass, freaking like, why it's a good thing we don't have that in the fucking game, because that'd be fucking some Wolverine shit right there.
So I've been playing a lot of Dota 2 lately, and one of the things that's like variable about Dota 2 is you can have different announcers. There's like the main announcer, which is your top tower is taking damage. Okay. But then like there's a Rick and Morty announcer. It's like, oh geez, Rick, we gotta send some defenses up the top tower. I was just thinking I would love to have Charles be my Dota announcer. You freaking gotta get your units up to the top tower, or it's gonna crumble, and then they're gonna make their way to your freaking base, and then they're all gonna be up on your ass.
There'd be a lot of censor bleeps if I was your announcer, Joseph.
It would just be a constant beep.
I think it's I personally think it's hilarious when people are getting like beep, beep. Like, to me, it's I just find that so funny.
It is. I used to be big on the censor beeps, and then YouTube said, yeah, no, they don't actually tell you, like, don't do censor beeps. They tell you don't swear because it's not child friendly, but their algorithm also catches censor beeps, so I just mute the audio and put like a duck sound. Better that way.
Oh, that's why Hungrybox uses "paff" whenever he swears. Interesting.
Another thing, this also goes with.
He plays Jigglypuff, so it's appropriate.
I'm really starting to hate every fucking scene that Quan, this little girl, that keeps showing up in. She's so fucking dense. It's like, girl, your shit got fucked up by the Covenant. Move the fuck on before you get sore and fucking killed. Pull yourself.
Yo, shit be fucked up.
And I'm going to go in freaking episode 4 at this point. She convinces Sora, because he's a fucking pirate, to go bring him back to her planet, to freaking try and find her father's generals and everything. All those motherfuckers are dead, and then she gets more people killed because she can't get it through her head that freaking the whole revolution and everything was built off a lie, and people are just trying to freaking survive and not get killed by the Covenant. That's freaking two of her relatives fucking killed, for Christ's sake. That was by this freaking female assassin who somehow survived getting a freaking revolver shot to the fucking shoulders somehow.
Your descriptions on like your story synopsises on a week-to-week basis have devolved into chaos with each one. Like now, like you're invested in the events. Now you're just like, it's just honestly, it's art in motion listening to your ranting about it.
I love how the first episode released. I was like, this is badass, man. It was like, pew, pew. Like it reminds me of like one of those guys who are like over traumatic with like telling you what's happening. It's like, man, it was like good, but it was like, pew, pew, and it was like, oh man, there's an F-150 over there go, pew, pew. And then this shit be crazy, man. And then episode 2 comes around, it's like, but you know, the house burnt down and it's just not as good. Episode 3 comes up, but the fucking story, man, it's just all kicked off. Man, there was a stormtrooper popped in the air like, and he was like, man, we gotta stop, man, we gotta stop. We gotta bring the kids back. We gotta bring the kids back. Take no damn hand. We gotta go. Episode 4, it got even crazier. We had to sit there, load them in the Humvees. We had to go put that shit in fourth gear. We had to brr, and then you had the fucking cars in the background going brr, brr. Charles like, thank you, Dave. And then you had to sit there. You had to go over to the radio station and be like, man, you need to get the fuck out of here. And then like, oh shit, man, more police are coming in. I think I bigger cars. Okay.
This is the hardest I've laughed on.
Thank you.
I'll applaud that.
Thank you.
Can that be a short figured at some point?
Depends on how long that went for. I'm lightheaded. I think I took a breath maybe once. Sorry, audio listeners. But go ahead, Charles.
And there's also this other weird thing from like both episodes. Like for some reason, there's these weird, freaking really awkward scenes where freaking like Chief was naked, or one of the female Spartans was naked.
It sounds like you're ad-libbing. How is this all one TV show? Why am I not watching this?
They freaking have a scene where somebody's naked. It's like, what the fuck am I watching? I'm watching Game of Thrones or some shit.
I wish.
Freaking Chief was naked at one point because he was removing the hormonal pellet that freaking made it freaking impossible for him to be able to see things or freaking feel anything. And then in the next episode, the female Spartan that freaking is pretty much has death flags freaking all circling her ass like freaking Pyra did in Ruby. Freaking sees this, and then she freaking, since she's catching on to Halsey and Cortana's bullshit, Cortana's pretty much been used as Halsey's spy. If freaking anything is going on with freaking Chief that freaking she doesn't like, freaking she has Cortana put a stop to it like she did at one point when Chief was messing around with the relic and everything. She put him in stasis, as they called it.
How are so many things happening in this show?
Dude,
can't they just shoot aliens?
Crazy.
I thought that's what it's supposed to be.
It's like that for like part of one episode, the first episode, and it's just like freaking Game of Thrones meets Halo. Freaking, it's just like freaking these weird freaking scenes where these people are freaking naked. It's like, I thought this was supposed to be fucking Halo, not Game of fucking Thrones.
Okay, so Nikki Master Chief. I got
And
nothing on that.
Like the next episode, like I was saying, one female Spartan that's the sniper of the squad. She removed her pellet after watching Chief do it, and while she was working on and she was cleaning her sniper and everything, she took this like weird red stuff, figuring out I guess she used to clean her sniper. She ran into her freaking hair, and now her hair is partly dyed red, and honestly she looks better with that color in her hair now. Freaking, like I said, in the fourth episode of points, she's talking with Miranda about stuff, and it's like, are you guys going to freaking start making out at some point? Because it's going to be really fucking weird. Because in fact, Miranda's and freaking talking all kinds of shit about you, and you freaking keep giving her that look like you freaking don't like, and it's like, are you going to fucking kill her at some point or what? You guys going to start making out? Freaking, I don't know. Freaking shit's getting weird. It's getting weird at points in episode 4.
But it sounds like you're into it.
I don't freaking judge. Freaking, they want to have a freaking lesbian relationship in Halo. Freaking, I'm all for it, man. Freaking, but still,
I'm all for watching.
Chief has been in the episode 3 and 4 has been having these visions of his home and everything when he was a kid and the drawings that he did. Like Halsey's he's trying to fit because he's in these drawings he used to freaking find where Relic was, his parents. He had seen when he was a kid on his home planet. He managed to convince Halsey to let him go back to his home planet. He eventually is able to trace together where he found the relic that his drawings are based off of. And Halsey's freaking at the end of episode 4 is smiling like really wide because it's like, holy freaking shit, freaking we actually found this thing. All the while freaking also at the same time the female Spartan freaking helped decipher what freaking communication between the human that's working for the Covenant and the elite freaking been saying to each other, because the UNSC was able to catch it freaking as the last communication from the ship that the human had taken over with the help of the hunter worms. Freaking this is when the UNSC is actually informed in a way freaking about how the physics of the Halo ring. And they actually mentioned that it's called Halo because they were able to decipher freaking the Covenant language and everything, and that's one of the words that freaking the female Spartan knows, because apparently she knows some freaking the Spartans know how to speak freaking Sangheili or Elite. For those who don't know what the freaking Elites actually are called.
The one thing she's able to read is the name of the show. Ironic.
Like I was saying, there was freaking more scenes involving Quan that were and the freaking sad thing is, episode 4, freaking his first episode, we actually had freaking action going on, and it had to do with fucking Quan, with freaking sword shooting people with fucking revolver, and it's like, when are we gonna get back to fucking fighting the Covenant? Jesus Christ. Freaking, like I said, freaking the creepy leader of the group that freaking had a scene freaking where he was walking naked through his pool talking to his freaking lost track, freaking. He sends her off after Quan. She ends up killing freaking another one of the relatives, and his goons kill the other relative of Quan. It's like freaking her aunt's going to have to take off freaking trying to find the spaceport to get off the planet because his ship got freaking jacked after they landed on the planet and everything. And it's like freaking, how much longer are we going to be dealing with this kid? Freaking, it's like she's going to get freaking somebody killed. And freaking people are going to get pissed off about it because she doesn't want to freaking listen. And after her freaking one relative that was supposed to be the one handling the family money and everything tells her this whole thing that you are freaking trying to fight for freaking because your father freaking did freaking was based off a fucking lie. Your freaking father was a dumbass.
Oh, he's dead now.
And also, like I was saying before, freaking there was freaking references to characters from the books that got me freaking giddy because freaking I knew what they were talking about. And what really got me freaking giddy, I gave this episode freaking a 7 and I'm talking about episode 4, because they actually showed freaking one of the Spartans picking up a needler, and they showed a carbine in the background and a picture of the OG plasma rifle and pistol. I seen the carbine especially, I was like, holy fucking shit, that's a Covenant carbine! It's like, I want to actually see that. And then freaking when Spartan was picked up a needle and like, that motherfucker's fucking huge compared to the game. Look how big did they make these freaking props?
Hey, their prop department's gonna get a pay raise, though.
And the freaking battle rifle freaking looked more freaking on point, and the assault rifle.
They call it Nerf for consulting.
Needler. You see how big needler prop that this freaking Spartan picked up is? It's like, Jesus Christ, this thing's like freaking huge compared to what it looks like in the game. I was like, please let us shoot it. I want to see us shoot that thing.
Okay,
She gave a description about how the needles work and everything, but that is fired from the needler. And we all, those of us who've played Halo knew how that thing worked. But how she describes it, it's like, Jesus Christ, somebody gets shot by that thing in this show, and they're gonna explode into bloody mist.
Yeah, I mean that's what happens if you have the birthday skull on. You pop it in confetti.
Freaking, like I said before the podcast, I think started and everything. They did the whole recreation of the coin flip scene when Halsey met John as a kid before he was taken for the sparring program. And I was like, I freaking was smiling when I see this. I was like, just like in the fucking books with the coin and everything. Even had Cortana quote a line that she says in the books when she first created everything and she and Halsey first met. It's like, this is the shit people like me freaking want from this show. References to the shit that we actually know.
Maybe this was their plan all along. The first episode pulls you in. Second episode gets the boring stuff out of the way. Now they're like, let's get it going.
I think it's starting to build up to freaking hopefully with some shit that's actually that happened and everything. And freaking they better not fuck up that shot when they finally do show the Halo. And if they do have freaking Reach get destroyed in this first season, which they probably will, because at some point that girl's probably going to find on the data that the Covenant needs to track location down of Reach, which will probably how this season ends and everything. They don't really fuck it up when they show freaking Reach getting destroyed. Because I don't know if you played Reach yet, Joseph, but you probably have.
No.
Me and
No,
Jordan
I
played
haven't.
Reach, and I've read the books and everything. Everybody who's a freaking Halo fan, for the most part, knows Reach gets freaking wiped the fuck out. At least a few
Yeah, that
days.
part I know. Yeah.
I think everyone knows that. If you play Halo and you know of Reach, you know the planet doesn't make it. Or Halo 4, or if what is it, Halo 5 they actually bring it up? One of the Halo games it gets brought up.
1, 2, 3, I think that they mentioned Reach. How ODST Buck freaking flips out about it because he was on Reach and you actually see him in Halo Reach when you rescue his ass and like one of the missions towards the end of the game.
Yep.
Basically, freaking you pretty much know from freaking even the stuff from Halo 1 when Cortana mentions like they had the Pill of Autumn had jumped from Reach and there was a blind jump from Reach that freaking what they had to use to get away from the Covenant when if they showed freaking Reach getting glass at the beginning of Halo 2. It's like freaking we all know freaking how what Reach's fate is probably going to be in the show. Like I'm just really looking forward to seeing how they do it in the show because freaking most of us who know the lore of Halo know that Reach was basically the freaking center and home of the UNSC military. A shit ton of the troops are there. The fleet is pretty much located there pretty much for the most part. That's pretty much the main HQ right there. A lot of freaking civilians are living there too. And that's where the Spartans train their, everything. Pretty much a large portion, if not pretty much almost the entire UNSC is based on Reach. Once that place is gone, freaking pretty much coming on Earth's doorstep.